Time for the Pacers portion of media availability leading into Game 2 after the 111-110 Indiana win. The score doesn't even begin to tell what happened in this game. But Rick Carlisle, he's done this before. NBA Finals last 50 years, he's come from behind by 15 or more in the fourth quarter twice.
Rick,
let's hear from the head coach of the Pacers at the podium.
About how much the game has changed in your time as a head coach, but you've always stayed on top of the offensive evolution. And I wanted to know, what do you enjoy about the way the game is played today that appeals to your offensive sensibilities?
Speed, skill. I think the skill aspect is the thing that's the most compelling part of the game. And we're getting to a point now where everybody on the floor, not 100%, all the five men, but all the guys 1 through 4 can make threes, drive it, make plays. And we're getting to a point now where more of the five men can do that than not. And so it's just it's made the game a lot more difficult to defend, obviously. But the skill aspect of it is, to me, always going to be the most compelling part about the beauty of watching the game and the challenge and the beauty of teaching the game.
Rick, Bob Kravitz from Indy Monthly, to your right.
Yeah.
Right. What sets Drew apart as a defensive player? He doesn't have jump out of the gym athleticism, but he's got great functional athleticism. What sets him apart, makes him good at what he does?
Well, he loves the challenge. He has a great intellectual curiosity about defense and the challenge of, trying to, you don't stop players today. You try to make it hard. And he played with Shea on the Olympic team, and so they have familiarity. They're both from Canada. They probably have played a lot with and against each other over the years. But this is the ultimate challenge. A guy like him who's the MVP, and he's just so skilled, so quick, bigger than you think. Everybody talks about the lethal mid-range, but he makes threes easily too. And, he lives at the free throw line. So, there's no breaks. There's no breaks. But, Drew he's just one of these guys that he has an equal focus on the defensive end as the offensive end. And it's a bit rare with today's players.
Again, on your right, Fred.
Rick, I'm curious to get your take. The Thunder foul a lot for a very good defense. Historically, normally really high-ranked defenses don't foul a ton. We're starting to see more in the league now. Like, you guys have fouled a lot during the playoffs, but have been successful defensively. Orlando fouled a lot during the regular season. Really good defense. Are you seeing anything different in the way the game is played today that kind of allows teams to be higher foul but still super successful and bake that into the strategy differently than how it used to be?
You're making it sound like we plan on fouling a lot. We're not. We're trying to defend well without fouling and to avoid unnecessary fouls. But the game's gotten more physical in the last year and a half, whatever, as changes were made to interpretations. And I'm a believer that that's the right way to go. Nobody wants to come to an NBA game and watch a free throw shooting contest and have a game last for 3 hours. And so, I don't know, the game's more physical. As far as the fouls, it's not something we want to do a lot of. And there are a significant number of good defensive teams that don't foul a lot too. And so, Boston comes to mind. They're a low foul team. But we're still working at becoming better and better and better. And certainly one of our challenges is to reduce fouls.
Tim, here in the front.
Tim Reynolds, AP. Rick, everyone's written a lot about how you were 10-15, and then the turnaround started around the 1st of January. Paris was right, a couple weeks into that. Did that week over there bring this team together in some ways? What did that experience coming out of it? Did you notice something new about your group?
Well, it was the middle latter stages of January, which was our turnaround month. I think we only lost 2 games that month. One of the games was in Paris. And so, we lost the first game in Paris. And we're playing against Victor, and we've got all the Paris fans there. And it's a lot coming at us. It was literally us against, the entire world. We didn't play well that first game. We had a pretty quick turnaround without really the benefit of the practice day because of how the schedule had gone. And so we had to turn things around pretty quickly if we were going to have a chance to win the second game. So, we had a couple of very productive meetings, and there was a lot of conversation. I like to open up our meetings to conversations and sometimes listen to the players first, after a game like that. It was embarrassing. We lost by 30-something, and Victor went crazy, and all their guys were, played great. And so we talked through it, and it was an important moment going into the second game. This is a massive place. It's 20-some thousand, and just all these other challenges. And, we were able to galvanize for that second game, and it was big. And then, we stayed over, came home the next day, and then I think we had 2 days, and then we had a really difficult game with Detroit at home, who had kicked our ass, 2 or 3 weeks earlier in one of the cup games. And, and they were still like on the come. They were getting better and better and better. And so we really had to be tough for that. And then we had another tough game, and we finished the month pretty well. That month was key. The Paris trip, certainly probably part of it. We talked a lot about the Paris trip even before the season started and the challenges it was going to present, but also the opportunity that it would present. And, we had to manage, it's 2 games in 9 days. And so, you got the front end. We had to get over there and do 3 days of media similar to this. And then, we had to have an off day as far as being on the court between days. And so, we had to figure some things out, but it certainly was a part of it.
Last 2 questions.
While talking about how the team finished 40-17 after a 10-15 start, but what has gotten everybody's attention is what they've done in the postseason. Their 4 comeback wins that have just been unbelievable. These games against Milwaukee, down by 20 in round 2, down by 20 to Cleveland, down by 17 in the Eastern Conference Finals to the Knicks, and, of course, down by 15 against in this series in Game 1 against OKC. But you're not unfamiliar with Rick Carlisle coach teams. You and him in Dallas winning a championship together back in 2011. And I think people, if they didn't know already, are starting to realize just what a creative genius this guy is in terms of how he coaches his teams.
Yeah, Rick Carlisle definitely probably doesn't get the credit that he deserves as far as being a great coach. And now that people are seeing him do it again, because in that Dallas team that won a championship, I want to say we were the 4th or the 5th seed. Now he's back in the finals with another 4 seed. You don't see coaches do that a lot of times. Like a lot of that's really, really hard to do, because you have to figure out a way to get your team to play at a high level, be the best that it can possibly be. And more importantly, the game plans and the attention to detail have to be exquisite. And that's the thing that I saw the most when playing with Coach Carlisle. When we went on that run in 2011, every single series before they started, he would sit us down and say, hey, this is how we're going to win. This is what we want to take away. This is how we're going to take it away. And if we do that, it will equal this. And as a player, when your coach tells you this is what we're going to do, you go out there and do it, you execute it just the way he says it, and it works. Now you start having even more belief in your coaching staff. You have even more belief when you come over there in timeouts. I'll think back to the last series the Pacers were in. I'm not sure if you saw this play. It was the beginning of the game, and they ran a play against Jalen Brunson to get a layup. Mm-hmm. And it worked to perfection. And if you go, you see the guys on the bench walk over there and they start tapping Carlisle, because you can tell he told them this is the coverage. We're going to run this and get a layup the first time we get it. And then the beauty of what Rick does behind that, he layers his plays. And what I mean by layering your plays is simply, he might show you one action and take advantage of it in the first quarter, see what you're going to do, and then show you a different version of that same play later on in crucial moments of the ball game. So from an offensive standpoint, he's an offensive genius, has always had one of the most extensive offensive playbooks in the league, and now he's even learned to let go of the reins a little bit more. And that is where I give him the most credit, because back then he wanted to control everything. Him and Jason Kidd sometimes would go at it because J. Kidd wanted to run certain plays. Right. And now I just see the ease that he has as far as letting his guys make some of those decisions, because he trusts them, he empowered them, and he's given them the tools to be successful.
Case in point, not calling timeout. When he had one in his pocket, letting Halliburton go score that game-winning bucket.
That's a very smart play. You don't want to play against this OKC team, loaded half-court defense, especially if the coaching staff has a chance to really, really look at what they think you're going to run, load up on guys, get the right defensive guys matched up on whoever. Halliburton might not even have that matchup. It might be Lou Dort on him coming out of the timeout. You don't know what it is, and all those little things can change the outcome of a ball game, and that's where you have to grow as a basketball coach, and that's what I see from Rick Carlisle. He used to want to control a lot more. Now he's done a lot better job at letting the flow of the game come to his guys and letting them make those plays.
Didn't Carlisle admit to you and me when we did one of his playoff games a couple months ago that you were the key to that 2011 team?
He did not. He did not say that. That would be very kind, and that would also not be true.
Well, Pascal Siakam also has a championship with the Raptors, going for his second NBA title. Coming up next, he will sit down at the podium as we take you back out to Oklahoma City on NBA TV's Media Availability Day.